Ideas production, and today, as I look outside my window and see not one wink of sun because of how cloudy and gloomy it is, I can't help but want to lay in bed and watch a movie. And not any movie, but a horror movie. And not any horror movie, but a comfy horror movie. So that's what I'm going to go over today. What are the comfiest horror movies to watch? To start this list, the first one I'm going to talk about is The Conjuring 2. There are so many factors at play here that make this an S tier comfort movie for me personally, as I think not a lot of people find demonic, supernatural, religious horror films as comforting, but I do. Oh, honorable mention, since I'm talking about this, The First Omen is also a great comfort movie that checks all these boxes too. The setting for The Conjuring 2 is where the appeal for me begins, as it's set in the UK, and from an outsider's point of view, as I've never actually been to UK, it seems so depressing to be a resident in. But from a viewing perspective, sitting in my bed in a lovely California watching a movie set in the UK, it's like a warm blanket to me. The cloudy sky, the constant rain. Oh, it's the epitome of cozy. Add the Warrens, some jolly singing by Ed, and the second most important factor that launches this movie to one of my most favorites is the British accents, which obviously comes with a UK setting. I realized watching A Night in Soho by Edgar Wright that having a British accent is such a plus when it comes to vibes of the movie, as I love this girl's accent. Fortunately, this movie isn't all vibes and actually has an intriguing story to tie everything neatly together. What more do you want? The only thing that this movie suffers from is that it's a little too long, and if it was cut by 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it would be the perfect movie. Regardless, this is S tier material we got here. The second movie is the one and only The Grudge. In all honesty, this movie makes the list for many reasons, but the main reason is the star, Sarah Michelle Gellar, the Scream Queen herself. She is the most comfiest person to have on screen, all the while being cursed and wanted by a vengeful ghost that is known for her croaking noises. Her acting here is so pulled back and feels like the stripped version of a song. That's the only way I can explain her presence on the screen. I'm not saying that as a negative, but as a positive, because she gives a restrained performance when most actors in horror movies I feel would go louder and have gone louder. I just think she carries this movie as a screen queen should. One of the most underrated aspects of this movie that I don't hear a lot of people speak about is that it was shot on 35 millimeter film, and that not only really adds to the comfort levels, but also separates itself from other horror movies. Maybe I'm having a lapse of memory, but I don't recall much horror movies being shot on 35 millimeter film during the early 2000s. There's this hazy look to the movie that is laid back and subdues you and disarms you throughout the entire runtime, so that when there are scares, they hit that much harder. Speaking of which, this movie doesn't have a lot of jump scares. Well, minus this stupid bus scene or train scene, whatever the hell this takes place in. I don't really like this scene. But everything else feels genuinely creepy. Like, for instance, the bed scene. To this day, it's horrific to watch. Also, the scene when the detectives see the Grudge in the tape walk up to the camera and just stare at him through the camera. This is S tier level scary. There is no loud noises, no loud music. It's also calm and beautifully scored. The same director of the original, Ju-on, directed this American adaptation, so that's why I'm pretty sure we got this such an incredible and fun movie. I haven't seen the original and I need to, but for now I recommend watching The Grudge as it's elite comfort movie for days like this. The only negative I have for this movie is the boyfriend. I really don't understand his place in this movie. Maybe in the original he had much more of a contribution, but in this movie he was pushed to the side to be a useless little lad. The last movie I'm going to speak about that deserves to be an S tier comfiest horror movie is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I'm not sure how the audience reception of this movie is, whether it's good or bad, but I loved it when I watched it all those years in the theater, and I loved it every time I watched it after that. The only thing I didn't like about this movie was that I think I was tricked. I was duped. I was deceived into thinking Guillermo del Toro had directed this movie, as I remember a lot of the trailer and a lot of the advertisements for this movie had him in all the footage. So I generally thought he was the director, but no, he wasn't. I swear the marketing of this movie was the practical effects, which was a great idea as they look magnificent and accurate to the source material. But the second most important thing was to show Guillermo del Toro. I mean, it got me in the theater, so whatever. Probably my fault. I digress. I grew up reading the books that are the framing device for this movie. I am a sucker for anthologies, and this is a pseudo anthology. I would say so, as the script adapts 4 or 5 stories from the book and weaves them into this overarching story that we get. My favorite season is fall, and this movie embodies that from the first to the last frame, and it brings the comfort levels all the way up. Especially how the movie starts off with the needle drop season of the witch, which I love that song. I'm a fan of the look of this movie as well. It's so smooth, warm colors throughout, the browns, the yellows, the oranges. And I also love the urban legend undertones that we get. You can't go wrong with a movie that has a spooky tale as a device that moves the film forward. Big fan. Those are my comfiest horror movies. And if you agree, don't agree, or have more movies to add to the list, please leave them down below in the comment section. This has been Bad Ideas Productions. Peace to the Middle East.